to Australia and to New South Wales at the Bathurst Mount Panorama Circuit, here for round number 8 in the 1966 Tasman Series. This is part 12 now of the 1966 series, where I race as Richie Axelson and take part in many different racing events throughout the 1966 season on my quest to become world champion. I just got done racing at the Daytona 500 in NASCAR, the first oval NASCAR race for Richie Axelson, and came away with a 4th place, a little timid coming to the end of the race, but overall a strong showing from young Richie. So Richie has now come back to Australia to take part in the final round of the 1966 Tasman Series, but while we were in Daytona, the series did race its 7th round at Sandown. The race at Sandown Park was notable for Jack Brabham showing up with his Repco 2.5-liter V8 engine, the first race for Jack Brabham in the Tasman Series, finally tuning that engine after the first couple of non-championship rounds in South Africa early in the year. The race itself in Sandown got off to a hectic start with Jim Clark sliding off the track going into turn 1 and retiring from the race. Once through the first corner, Jack Brabham was able to take the high power of that BT19 and stretch out into the lead, but Jackie Stewart kept him on as trailing just behind him for most of the race. But it wasn't quite enough. Jack Brabham was able to hold off Jackie Stewart for the win ahead of Jim Palmer in the other Lotus, finishing in the top 3. So because of his crash in turn 1, Jim Clark didn't score any points at Sandown, and it pretty much puts us on an equal playing field for this final round of the championship. If we take a look at the championship standings, Jim Clark is still in the lead with 30 points, but Richie Axelson there in 2nd place with 30 points as well. Pretty much even playing field. Whoever finishes higher, assuming we both get points, will win the championship overall. There's no way anybody else can catch us, but Spencer Martin's holding on there in 3rd, just ahead of Jim Palmer, and it'll be interesting to see how that works out as well. I suppose Jackie Stewart or even Graham Hill could get up there to take 3rd spot away. So with everything on the line, that brings us to the final round, and we're here at Bathurst to see how everything will shake out. The real race was actually run at Longford, which I believe is a favorite track of many. It's in a few other sims as well, but it's one of the few tracks that's not in Grand Prix Legends, unfortunately. And so I sought around to find a replacement for it, and I feel like the only thing that could do this just as much, or maybe even a little bit more justice, is to race at Bathurst. The Mount Panorama Circuit in Bathurst these days is most famous for its supercar and sports car racing with the 1,000 and the 12-hour races, but going back to the past, it actually was a circuit that raced Formula One or Grand Prix style cars quite a few times. From the track's creation in the 1930s through the 1950s, there were actually quite a few Grand Prix style races here. The track itself held the Australian Grand Prix several times, the last time being in 1958. So although we think of it as an impossibility these days, it was actually something in the 1960s that would not have been that weird to run some Grand Prix style cars at this circuit. So we'll take a look at the circuit, and for those of you familiar with Bathurst or the Mount Panorama Circuit, you'll notice the layout itself isn't that much different, and really the layout at Bathurst hasn't changed very much even since the creation of the circuit back in the 30s. It follows the same basic layout. The bottom of the track here has really fast straightaways, even if they're hilly a bit, but once we get over to Griffin's Bend, we'll start heading up the hill, and it's as twisty and tight as ever. The biggest difference with the track back in the 60s is that there's not as many barriers, so you might think you have a little leeway working your way up the mountain, but it's just as scary. You might launch yourself off the edge of the course if you're not too careful. But working up over the hill, the thing you have to watch out for is just coming over the crest. The car will get very light and loose, and then ultimately down to Skyline, the S's, and through the Dipper. These corners are crazy in a Formula car, and I actually had to stiffen the suspension quite a lot in my Brabham to avoid bottoming out as we come through those. But you'll finally get to the Forest Elbow, take that left-hander onto the Conrad Straight, and the thing you'll notice, the one change there has been to the Bathurst Mount Panorama Circuit over the years, is that there is no chase. The chicane that was added, if you want to call it that, in the 80s, 1987, I believe, to prepare for some touring car races. So the straight itself is just a straight shot all the way down to Murray's Corner, which makes the braking there fairly difficult. This is a pretty difficult track, I would say, overall. I think everybody knows Bathurst is one of the more challenging challenging tracks, and it's no different here, even in the older version that we have it in. And so we'll go over to the starting grid. Jackie Stewart got the pole at a blistering 2 minutes 4 seconds. Jackie Stewart at the Longford race was unmatched, essentially. The race itself was kind of an odd one. It only had 8 cars in it at Longford. They essentially outlawed the 1.5 liter cars from racing. In that one, they thought the speed differential potentially would be too great, but Jackie Stewart was able to win that one handily. Jack Brabham, in his updated Brabham, actually had some mechanical issues, so he wasn't really able to challenge that. So Jackie Stewart looks to be living up, or repeating, I guess, what he did at Longford here at Bathurst and leading the way with the 204. Graham Hill starting alongside of him in a much more achievable 206. And then if we look in the second row, Jim Clark there at a 207.39, just not even a tenth ahead of my time, Richie Axelson here with a 207.46. If we look back, Jack Brabham's not too far off either in the 207. So I think there's going to be a little bit of a battle in the mid-pack here between Graham Hill, myself, Jim Clark, and Jack Brabham. It seems like Frank Gardner and the rest of them are a little slower, and so hopefully we'll be able to get away. But I don't know if anybody's going to catch Jackie Stewart. We'll have to see overall. But again, all I've got to do is beat Jim Clark. So overall, this should be a challenging end to the Tasman Series, but outside of Longford, I couldn't think of a better place to do this other than Bathurst. So let's get started with this, the final round of the 1966 Tasman Series. All right, so here we are on the grid. I'm on the right side of the grid. Got Jim Clark alongside Graham Hill, Jackie Stewart right in front. Watch for the flagman to raise the flag there. Flag is up. Down, we're underway. We're getting a good launch off the line. We'll work down towards the first corner, Hell Corner. Just try to spot the entry. I got Jim Clark on the inside. Whoa, Jackie Stewart, I think, hit the barrier there, but Jim Clark's able to get around me. So now we'll work down the mountain straight towards the quarry bend. A big hill and drop off here on the mountain straight, of course. Slide it in behind Jim Clark. We'll come down. Quarry bend down to third gear. And start working our way up Mount Panorama. Jackie Stewart definitely tapped the fence on the inside, so be interested to see how his car does handling wise. But now into the cutting, and I've got Jack Brabham all up behind me, second gear. Have to keep it nice and tidy because he's right there, but not going to go too wide through there, I don't think. Now I'll try to work it over the top here, the hill of the mountain. Fourth gear, just balancing the car. Trying to keep my eye in front of me and on the mirrors. Come up to Skyline. Down to third gear. Probably can go a little quicker through here. But just tentative on the opening lap with cold tires. Now into the Dipper. Crazy corner. Second gear. Through the S's. And into Forest Elbow. We'll come out onto Conrad Straight. Ooh, all right, making it over the mountain for the first time. First to 10 times to do that. Try to get in the slipstream of Jim Clark here. I can see the two BRMs just way up there. Somehow that tap on the wall hasn't seemed to mess with Jackie Stewart at all. Very surprising. But flat out, of course, no chase, like I said. We'll just come over the top of the hill here and just try to spot the braking markers just before the 100 board, all the way down to second. Oh, Jack Brabham just flies the car up the inside. Caught me by surprise a little bit, that V8 2.5 liter. Got a lot of power on the Conrad Straight, of course. But completing the first lap, back down to second gear for the first turn. Hell Corner, see if I can dip it through the inside. Jack Brabham giving up the position there after taking it so furiously at the end of the lap, but right on Jim Clark now. Down to third gear. A lot of fast corners at Bathurst. Oh, see if I can get up the inside of Jim Clark coming up to the cutting, but I just don't think that's going to be a good place to do it. It's so narrow here. You can see why they call it the cut through the mountain itself. Get up to fourth gear. little bit quicker than Jim Clark here, but nowhere real to go. Oh, touching the grass on the outside. Don't want to be doing that. I'll slide the car wide very easily. Over Skyline again, down to third gear. Got Jack Brabham right on me now. Really easy to run wide through there, go a little too quick. It's like Laguna's corkscrew, but on steroids. Down to second gear. Oh, Jim Clark runs a little wide. But not able to get him through Forest Elbow. Back on the Conrad straight. Pretty much a repeat of last lap. I see the two BRMs ahead have sorted things out a bit. One of them's way ahead of the other now. Oh, but gaining on Jim Clark here in the slipstream. Flat out fifth gear. See if I can come to the inside. So narrow. Down the gears. Oh, I'm trying to stay alongside of him, not outbrake myself. Oh, but he hangs it around the outside. Don't complete the second lap. Jack Brabham's still watching us from behind. Just trying to watch my inside. Brabham's thinking about it. Getting caught up there by Jim Clark on the exit. He's got a little more acceleration than I do, but top speed, or at least in the slipstream, I seem to be able to pull a little bit on him. Oh, slamming on the brakes a bit there. Clark slows down. Catching him once again, coming up to the cutting. The car a bit. Oh, accelerating out on the outside here. Not gonna be able to make that work. Mostly single file running over the top of the mountain. Oh, try not to run wide there. That's such an easy place to run wide. Got Jack Brabham thinking about the inside again. Just ride third gear down here. Just hope Brabham doesn't try anything too wild. Coming to Forest Elbow again. Oh, sticking up the inside of Jim Clark as we come onto the Conrad straight. He gets that acceleration. Oh, and he cuts me off a little bit. Oh, and I see a slow car ahead. White flag there. Not sure who that is, if it's one of the BRMs. Just trying to take it easy here. No, not one of the BRMs, one of the slower cars. All right, in the slipstream though, got a mega run here. Oh, not gonna be able to outbrake him. Jim Clark's so good on the brakes. Jack Brabham looking to the inside again. Give him a little space there so he doesn't hit me. Down to second gear for the first corner again, hell corner. Well, always a little quicker than Jim Clark there. But not able to get it done. He's a little quicker than me on the straights, but with the slipstream, I'm able to catch back up to him. But in the corners, I'm actually much quicker. I think both Jack and I are. Just got to get around him. Oh, good run here, coming up to the cutting. On the inside, I just can't do it. I can't throw it up there. It's just too tight. But just try to stay on. I'm a little oversteer there. Not able to get the accelerator down. It's tempting to try to go up the inside of the cutting, but it would be so easy to get tangled up the open suspension and wheels. End the race for both of us. Come to Skyline, right on him now too. Third gear, we'll just keep it nice behind him. Oh, and able to get around him through the dipper. Oh, wasn't thinking I was gonna pass there, but he slid out wide. Oh, spinning the car out into Forest Elbow. Try to get back into first gear, get the car running again. Hopefully nobody's coming. Oh, man. Whew, you can't spin out there very often and not hit anything. I don't know how I did that. But just getting bottled up after getting through the dipper like that, getting around him. See Jack now working on Jim Clark in front. Let's try to get my composure back together. There's still, I think, quite a few laps left. Oh, all right. Luckily got this straight here just to think about things for a second, get it all sorted out. Try not to miss my braking into Murray's. Crazy couple of laps there, though. I don't know how I spun the car out and did not hit the berms or anything. The car feels absolutely fine, so I just got to get back into it, try to get back up to Jim Clark. I think Brabham got around him, actually. Take a look at the pit board here. P5, 6 laps to go. Clark's right in front. Out of third gear. Yeah, I'm pulling up on him ever so slightly, so I think I can catch him. I just got to put a few solid laps together. Down to second gear for the cutting. A little bit of an early shift to fourth gear just helps get over the top of that rise without too much torque. Fans lining the circuit, getting a heck of a show. They'll wonder what happened during that last lap. Hopefully get through this whole section a little less crazy this time. All right, stick up the inside. So surprised to pass there. Down a second into force elbow. Yeah, you just get a lot of lateral force into the car, and if you don't have the line right, like last time, you can spin it out. The weight transfer is insane through there. Oh, another slow car in the straightaway here. White flag. So some of the 1.5 liter cars, I think. But I can see Jim Clark there in front of me. Jack Brabham definitely got around him, pulling away a bit. I just need to beat Jim. Come down into Murray's corner. This should be about halfway through the race now, so hopefully the second half is a little less eventful than the first. A little bit wide there through Hell Corner. To fifth gear, just need to spot the braking zone here. It's a fast corner with the camber. A lot faster than the real one. Keep it in third here, just nice and easy coming into the cutting. Then down to second, also easy to spin the car there. Whoa. But I can see him now. I pull up so much over the top of the mountain here. Just dab of the grass there on the inside helps turn the car a little bit too much. Down to third gear, I'll just coast it through. Don't want to do anything too crazy. I'm pulling up, I just need to keep this pace and then find a way around Jim Clark again. Down to second gear for the forced elbow. Now onto the Conrad straight. Should have plenty of slipstream draft this time. Fifth gear flat out. I tried several different gearing options with the car. And this one feels like it's right at the top of the rev range, but it got my highest top speed with other cars, so that's why I went with it. Down to second gear, just try to match those downshifts as best I can. Right on Jim Clark now. He'll definitely see me here. Down a second. We're going to run a bit wide again. It's all right. Carry the speed through there. Should help me a little bit. So 4 laps to go. P5. Trying to outbrake myself. Clark's a little slow into Quarry. Oh, a little slow again coming up to the cutting. Despite those Lotuses being known for being nimble, he's just not as great through the twisty stuff. Take it easy through here. There's no reason to push super hard. Pulling back up on him now into Skyline. Get it down to second. Just let the car fall away. Can't force it through there. It's so easy to bottom out, spin out. Same thing. Try not to spin and force elbow. Oh, he runs wide. Maybe that late apex, try to get a good exit. But right on Jim Clark now. Gonna pull up on him as we come over the top of these hills. Get alongside of him, take the inside line. Oh, side by side, so sketchy here. Try to break a little later, but he does it later than me. Not able to get him that time. Starting to run out of laps, so the urgency is just cranking up. This is for the championship. Whoever finishes in front of each other here wins. I saw an opening alongside of him there. Nobody in my mirrors, luckily, so it's just me and Clark, really. It feels tempting to pass there. I just don't think I'd get it in time. Really need to be alongside of him before coming through these corners. Missed my downshift a second there. Doesn't hurt me too bad though. I was trying to keep the speed up, getting blocked a bit. And I back off through here. It's just not a great place to try to pass. See if I can do that move again, but not as close this time. He runs wide. Oh, I locked up the left front. I gotta time that better. I think I could sneak up the inside of him through forced elbow. The slipstream though. Luckily he picks the right side. I'll come on the left. Pulling ahead of him this time, I think a little bit. Come down to the braking zone. Go as late as I can. Oh, the car gets so squirrely. Even with him next to me. Not able to get him that time. Just a couple laps left, I think. Try to get a good exit here. I know he's a little slow. Saw it there. There's 2 laps to go. Difficult to look at the pit board, man, as you're fighting for the championship. To Quarry, through Quarry up to cutting. Just waiting for him to make any kind of mistake. Oh, get alongside here. Gotta back out of it. Just would not end well. We'll get a good run coming to Skyline. He's going to force me to the edge. He knows where the car can fit and where it can't. Oh, almost getting loose there over the dipper. I can stab it up the inside through. Oh, I hit the berm a little bit. That can mess up your suspension if you're not careful with it. Oh, a slow car ahead again. It's dropping like flies, some of them. Car gets a little squirrely over the top of the humps. Had to back out of it there. I was just catching him a little too quick. Slow it down for Murray's. All right, we'll come to the line. I think it's just one lap to go. Down a hell corner, just back it up a little bit. Get good acceleration coming out. Up to Quarry here, up to 5th gear. A little late. See if I can maybe get it up the inside. Oh, able to get around him. Try to get that throttle down. Oh, and he tried it, but he shot wide. Get down to 3rd gear. All right, just keep it focused forward. Don't need to worry about the mirror. I don't even see him now. Not sure what happened there. Just one time over the mountain here. Oh, we're gonna run a little wide. Just held it on the pavement. Right there again, so easy to do. Oh, the car just not following somebody else after doing it for so many laps throws you off a little bit. Just come over the top here. Skyline. Try not to spin out coming over dipper. To Forest Elbow for the last time. All right, get it onto Conrad straight. So, oh man, I don't know what happened to Jim Clark there. It's almost like a couple races ago where I passed him and at the same time, seemingly he had some kind of mechanical. I wonder if that's what happened again. I feel like I passed him going into Quarry on my own merit. Got a yellow flag there for a second. I was probably just celebrating the winner of the race. I don't care about that right now. Just come over the top of the crest here. Spot the braking. No need to brake super late going into Murray. All right, come through the final corner. And I think that's it. I think I've won the Tasman Series 1966. Fist raised. It wasn't a win outright, but it's a win of the championship. I'm almost certain we'll look at the points in a second, but that was it. Oh my God, Bathurst is a crazy track to race at, no matter the car, but certainly in a Grand Prix car from this era. It's so fast, and there's no safety. I think you'll probably see what I mean now about how it's less safe now, or it's even less safe in this version than it is now. Even though there's no walls next to the track, you just have these grass areas that you could very easily run off into and shoot off at the top of a hill. I definitely did not do that in practice for this one at all. But no sign of Jim Clark behind me, so he had some kind of issue. I have no idea what positions we were even fighting for. I was just focused on Clark, so I think we're definitely in the points, which is also necessary. Here comes Spencer Martin behind me, so Jim Clark seemingly gone, maybe gonna get 0 points. Maybe I just pushed the Lotus so hard that it had some kind of mechanical, but man, what a race. Bathurst is such an awesome circuit. So taking a look at the final results, Jackie Stewart was able to win the race after that crazy first corner where he hit the wall on the inside, stuck with it, got around Graham Hill. I think I saw that on the Conrad Straight, and then was able to pull away 17 seconds in the lead. So nobody could meet Jackie today. Graham Hill second there in the other BRM, so a 1-2 for BRM, not too bad, much like most of the real season for the Tasman Series in 1966. Jack Brabham finishing in third on the podium. Great to see that after he wasn't in most of the season, just working on that 2.5 liter Repco, getting it ready for the Formula One Championship. And there we are in fourth place, Richie Axelson, and that should be enough, but we'll look at the points in a second. Beating Jim Clark. If we look further down, Spencer Martin and Jim Palmer round out the top six. And there's Jim Clark, one lap down and finishing in seventh place. So doesn't say there was a mechanical. No idea what happened. I mean, maybe the team didn't fill the car enough or something, but you can see there was actually quite a few mechanicals. Frank Gardner falling out as well with one, but a crazy, crazy race. So there it is, the final results for the 1966 Tasman Championship, and Richie Axelson up there in number one, 3 points ahead of Jim Clark, just 3 points at the end of the championship. But if you look at it, Jim Clark had a terrible second half of the season in Australia. He only got a second place there at the Australian Grand Prix for 6 points. Other than that, went without scoring and really didn't capitalize on Richie going away to race in America there, having the crash and everything at Sandown. So I don't know what happened. Maybe just mechanicals coming to Jim Clark with Lotus wouldn't be unexpected, but able to capitalize on it and win the championship. I think, honestly, if Jackie Stewart had done a little bit better in the first half, that would have been pretty hard to beat him. He was very strong there towards the end of the championship as well. Came away with third overall. Graham Hill, his teammate, despite missing the majority of the championship, finishes in fourth. If we look further down, Spencer Martin, the first local, as I'd call it, to come in the championship, in fifth. Crazy consistent, scored in every single race, so only driver to do that, except for me. And I missed a race, but still really solid result for Spencer Martin. And Jim Palmer rounding out the top six. Jack Brabham there in seventh, Frank Gardner, Richard Atwood, and look further down. So overall, a really great championship for the Tasman Series. So happy to have done that one and can't wait for the next thing that's up. So I hope you enjoyed this. It was fun to go down under and do a preseason, but I don't know about you. I think I'm ready to get back to Europe and maybe do a little bit of Grand Prix racing. So until then, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all again next time.